Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is a thank you video to everyone who answered the call to help me find a special camera, a camera that I'm going to keep forever, Cameras come, cameras go. This one needed to be special. And I got some really great suggestions. Chief amongst those was that fact that I prefer medium format over smaller formats. I do really like large format, but I'm actually, for the time being at least, I'm quite happy with what I've got in that sphere. Now that sort of took me down a route, and that took me down to the Hasselblad route. And I went to a local camera fair. Excuse me, I'm actually scanning the first set of photos from this Hasselblad. So I went to a local shop that had a camera fair on. It has a camera fair every couple of months, sort of second-hand gear, local to me in Bicester. A shop called ImageX, and they have this, as I say, camera fair upstairs. They've got a very big shop, and upstairs they have everything laid out on these tables. And I got chatting to the guy there, said, I'd like to buy a Hasselblad. And he, do you get them? Do you, I said that, I was looking for, I explained the whole situation, a forever camera and a legacy camera in memory of my parents. And he was right on board with it. And he said, straight away, I do get them in very occasionally. But the guy you want to go and talk to is, I keep wanting to say Paul Weller. It's not Paul Weller, he's a musician. But his name's Weller. And I can't remember it off the top of my head now, that's embarrassing. But at Commercial Cameras in a place called Church Stretton, which is about 2.5 hours drive from me. So I rang him on this guy's advice and said, this is what I'm thinking, what do you advise? And he gave me very solid advice, and then told me he's got 2 cameras in at the moment. And we over the course of a few emails and chats, we thrashed out a conversation. But while I was at the camera fair, I picked up this lens, so I didn't even have anything to put it on. I think I got it for a reasonable price, and I took it with me when I went to pick up the camera I'm going to show you in a minute. And I was a bit nervous about showing it to the guy because this is an old lens, but he actually said this is probably the best example he's seen of this age of lens. So that instantly made me very happy, and he popped it onto the camera that I was buying, and sure enough it all works well. But without further ado, here is the camera. Let's get that nice and close for you. There you go. So it's a 503CW Hasselblad, one of the last of this type, of this series of cameras. And it's just lovely. It's in really nice condition. I did pay a premium for this, but before I bought it, the chap, there you go, little A12 film back there, the chap sent it off. It does have another roll of film in it, so I have to be a bit careful showing it. The chap sent it off to, apparently this guy is the only Hasselblad approved technician in this country, and he gave it a full strip and rebuild. So I've got a 6-month warranty on it anyway, but basically the guy said, unless you do something really stupid, that camera is going to last you the rest of your life. We're just 20 years without anyone touching it. So really thrilled about that. I have actually put on, because I intend to use it in the studio for portraits and things, I have actually popped on an aftermarket hot shoe that just slides on or sorry, not hot shoe, cold shoe, so that I can easily sort of like trigger my flashes from it. But that's by the by. So yeah, thank you very much, and let's take a look at a few of the pictures I've taken. Okay then, here we go. What a bright sunny day. It's not an amazing photograph, none of these are, to be honest, but this was a path that just runs past a local school. Obviously schools have much higher fences than when I was a kid. You could quite easily climb over a school fence when I was a kid. But yeah, it's the shadow play here that I was just like, wow, shadows, really sharp shadows. It's been a long time since we've seen shadows like that. This shot here, this was actually a grab shot. Or the closest I will ever come to a grab shot. I'd spotted this lady running sort of somewhere over the back, near those railings that are in the sunlight there, right at the back of the picture. And I thought, oh God, quick! Yeah, she's going to be coming into this pool of light, So I'm sort of fiddling there with the camera, trying to sort of go, okay, right, and no light meter readings or anything. I'm just like, right, okay, so that pool of light is going to be kind of f11, and the speed of the film is so let's go 500th, but let's go, and then focus. It, it was a bit of a grab shot, but I kind of like. If I zoom this in, I mean, it's super grainy, obviously. We can't identify a face. There's not enough detail there, so I'm not worried about this. Although in the UK, this sort of shot is perfectly legal. It's not the sort of shot I tend to take because I'm quite timid with shots like this. But what I really like about this is the way her hair is completely backlit. I think it's fab. She's running towards the dark, running towards me, but lit by that thing. And in the top corner up here, you can just see the sunlight that's casting that shadow on her there. So that's pretty cool. This one, the studio, as it's now been renamed. So this was, clearly we can see it used to be a petrol station, but prior to that it was actually, I think it was a Methodist hall. I may be wrong on that, but it was a religious hall originally. And then at some point in its life it became a petrol station and general garage, and that closed down. Judging by those pumps, I remember pumps like that when I was a kid, in my hometown. So maybe the 1980s, possibly even 70s. But yeah, it's a tiny little street, that, and it gets into a really tight area of the town. So you can kind of see why it didn't work. Oh, excuse me, in modern times. I'm boring even myself. But it's a really interesting. It's turning into a studio again now. It's being converted now. I think it's going to be a dance studio. Someone told me recently. This is it's a shot of a typewriter. It's an old typewriter. My mum actually used this to write a book many years ago. Her first book was typed out on this. It's 1950s imperial typewriter. I actually quite often photograph this as a test for a new camera. It's a good subject to test focusing and sharpness and things like that. This photo is really quite poignant. This building is up for sale. There is another part to this building. The front of the shop front is on the other road. So there's a road coming up here, obviously, and there's another one goes down there. But this bit here is the really interesting bit, and I would have loved to have been in it. It's currently on the market, the whole building. Not this bit here. That's something else. But this bit that comes out over here and this bit. I think it's $750,000. They're asking for this building. It's clearly going to be redeveloped, turned into flats or something. But if I zoom in on this, R.H. Chapman, photographers and picture frame makers, okay, established 1863. Now, of course, photography began quite a few years before that, but actually not that many. So this photographic studio is a proper, true Victorian photographic studio, where they would have taken all manner of portraits, and indeed they did up until fairly recent history. But what intrigues me about this, what I'd love to see, this is glass windows, glass ceiling. This is obviously glass side lighting. This is a North Light photographic studio. Now, as I say, it's on the market for about $750,000. I think you would need probably 1.5 to bring it up to muster. But there's going to be dark rooms in there. There's probably still going to be a lot of equipment in there. If I had the money, I would buy it tomorrow and run it at a loss as a photography studio, because it's just such an incredible place. I mean, it's going to be a real loss when that changes. This is a twisted chimney on, I believe it's on the rectory, the vicarage. It's a Tudor twisted chimney, so that's a very old chimney. Again, a beautiful bright sunny day, so the shadow's doing really interesting things. Wildly differing lighting, between the deep shadows here and the sunlight up there. Nothing exciting about this one. This is the second photo I took. I think it's the view from my window. This is what you get when you live in a conservation area. That is the view from the window. I'm so sorry about the yawning. My goodness. This is a view down a local street. This bit here at the bottom, this was actually a local shop. It's no longer a shop. It hasn't been a shop for a long time, but it was a shop with accommodation above. So this was the family home. This was the shop. And I have it on good authority from the current owner of said property that if you, during the Second World War, if you were local and you knew the right things to say, or they knew you very well, this was a place where you might get a little bit of extra illicit food for your rations. So obviously back then it was a very, very useful place. This is a view going up to what I refer to as Toy Town. I've done nothing to this photo to alter it, to change anything, but it looks like a miniature town sitting up there, a miniature bunch of houses. It's a new housing estate within the town, and this couple were walking ahead of me, and I thought the dog was fascinated with me. It's like, how dare you follow me? But yeah, it always looks like it's right out on its own. There's quite a slope off down here, and builders won't build on slopes because that involves more work. And I've heard they messed up the drainage for all of this. So yeah, I wouldn't want to own a house there. It's not even been adopted by the council. It's up to the people collectively that live there to maintain roads and things like that, I believe. This is St Rumbold, one little image of St Rumbold here, and this is the gates into his well. Now, obviously, he was out. I think he's been out for quite a while, but there is a well just behind these gates, and it's supposedly a holy well. St Rumbold, for those who don't know, and I didn't know much about him at all. I didn't know anything about him until fairly recently. He was apparently born talking. He lived for 3 days, and he performed. He gave a sermon, and he carried out a load of healing miracles. And this used to be a site of pilgrimage centuries ago, a couple of centuries ago. The date on this, 1623, it must be significant. Obviously, this was not built in 1623, but it must have some significance, and I would need to look that up. So apologies for me not knowing. But there we go. And I think that's it from this roll, because this is a horrific roll of Harman Phoenix shot on a TLR. So there you go. That is the first roll through the Hasselblad. I'm actually missing one photo, which I probably haven't saved to the right place. But there you go. Thanks for watching that, guys. I was actually very concerned about these. Simple reason is that this camera is the best camera I will ever own. It is capable of taking very, very good quality, high quality photographs, but it's still me using it. And so my nerves were, my expectation that all of my photos were instantly going to be amazing, I had to temper that, because I know that's not going to be the case. So bear that in mind. Thank you very much for watching and subscribing. Thank you to all of you who have so far. Amazing. I'm really pleased about that. Got some more things coming up, some more ideas and all that. So stick with me. I promise it will improve, and I may even get some better lighting for next time. Thanks very much, and keep shooting film.